And there we go. We got see Karada in here.
Mm-hmm.
I believe Moon is probably setting up. Oh, there we go. That's a little bit of lag. Looks like no movement on the.
Oh yeah, I have to click into the
there.
game.
Hey, there we go. All right, so anything you want to give us for the build up, for the hype before we get started?
I couldn't think of anything for the hype, really. I mean, the only thing I can say is Valkyria Chronicles is a great strategy game. Highly recommend it.
Yeah, we got plenty of time to figure it out pretty soon here. I see Moonblaze is here. I assume good on the timer if we want to do a countdown.
Yep. All right, so start from 5 here. So countdown 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, go. All right. Just gonna stall on this for a little bit till I make sure there's sound. Good. Sometimes that does not load on PC for whatever reason. You just don't get the sound effects. You get music, no sound effects. But jumping around in here, I'm just mashing a couple buttons in order to skip through all the cutscenes here. Cutscenes are encountered by the numbers that you see in each of the chapters. So going into the first chapter mission here, basically the tutorial mission, you're going to be given 3 units. 2 are like main story units, and 1's just an extra watch unit, whatever. You want to be selecting the watch unit here because they don't have any extra things to say when you select them or whenever you end their turn. So, saves frames. So, Town Watchman is going to be the hero for this mission. And Town Watchman is going to be going and destroying every single tutorial that pops up here. Happens every single time, just going to have to mash through it. Now, you start out the game with command points for your selections in order to select who you want to move, and you're given action points and 1 action for using a gun or healing or whatever. So we have only 3 command points to use on the tutorial, and we use it to take out the 3 scouts in this map.
Ragdolls are so good.
Mm-hmm. It's more hilarious when they ragdoll somewhere and then still teleport back in, which you'll probably see later on as well. So in this game, everything right now is just scouts, and we don't have to worry about them. They don't do much damage. We're the ones that do the most because we know how to aim for the head. I was about to say that was going to suck if I missed that. But it's pretty straightforward. Just select your Town Watchman, run them over, shoot the 3 guys, and this is the last guy you need to kill in order to finish this map up. So, one thing about the game is you can shoot at the body, or you can shoot at the head, and the head is always the best place to shoot. There's more to it beyond just that. Like if they're crouching, they'll only take minimal damage, but you always want to shoot at the head for critical hits. The enemy could shoot at your head as well, but that's only random. It's only if a stray bullet actually grazes your head. Typically, they'll shoot towards the center of your body, so a lot of the missions are planned out around taking a certain amount of damage. Or generally just not caring about the damage that the enemy does. So coming into this mission, we're going to see Alicia. Alicia is the only one that actually has a grenade. The other 2 do not. And we need the grenade in order to take someone out really quickly because, as I kind of referenced before, someone's crouching. Typically, they crouch behind sandbags. So grenades will not only knock them up and out of that crouched position, but it'll also do a lot of damage. But right here, we'll be able to pull out the grenade, run past these guys, kind of ignore the damage because we'll get healed after this. We pull out the grenade, destroy these tutorial pop-ups, and then just kind of throw it over here. Alright, and that destroys the scout. That was also the commander. That sets it into stage 2 for this stage. Which we get a little cutscene that I'll skip right through. And then the enemy comes out with their own little tank. Now we have no capability of destroying this tank. I kind of have a guess every now and then, see how much damage this tank does. Will he leave us at 20 health, 21, 120? We'll see how much he does as he fires a mortar. 133, wow. Completely random. I've seen him actually take like 5 damage once before because he ducked. Always amused by that. But after this tank moves to its little spot and just does little to nothing else, we need to finish the mission by selecting Welkin and running him to the end box. So we don't have to worry about taking out anything else. We do have to worry about that tank possibly shooting us down. But we just grab Welkin here, and to make it safe, we just kind of hug the side here. The tank has absolutely no range on us. I'll go further out than normal here and just cut across. Everyone else is scouts, so they do very little damage because they have essentially pea shooters like we do. And then we complete the mission like so. I'm sure story-wise here, Alicia's telling Welkin to run off because he doesn't have the capability of taking on a tank, and, well, neither do they, but, you know, get the civilian out of there. So, Welkin runs away, and we skip through a couple more cutscenes, and we're going to get to another mission here, which is going to have to deal with the tank in a different part of town, with a couple town watchmen and Alicia.
I wanted to point out real quick that an admirer in chat, Wandering Minds, has donated $25.
Oh, nice.
I'm donating what I can for this run of Valkyria Chronicles, since this is my favorite series to speedrun, and this is going to a good cause.
Oh, yeah. Alright, so for this here, we pick Town Watchman, move them up. Well, before the strategy used to be just kind of skip the turns, but we decide to move them up and try to take out this scout, because any command points that the enemy has means it's slower for us because they have to move a couple extra turns. So I didn't kill him that turn. I'll spend the next command point to take him out. Aim for that head. There you go. So that's one command point less that they get on their turn to spend. We just kind of run over here. Gotta be careful because there's a lot of guys that will shoot at us. Kind of wait until I hear a shot from the left and then end. And then take this guy out. Wow. Scaring me there. And then just kind of end the turn there. And we'll skip the next couple of phases. We don't worry about that guy up there. The objective for the enemy is to not focus on our allied units, but to send this tank forward and anyone else in order to grenade and try to shoot down a wall that's coming up, or that's right here next to us. We're essentially trying to prevent the enemy from getting into the town center or behind that wall where a lot of the civilians are, so that, you know, we want to protect them. So, because we took out 2 command points from the enemy, they only move a couple of their units, and makes it just a lot faster. And then last one is always going to be this guy. Now the thing about this game is, for the enemy units that don't have a clear directive, like this guy, if they get shot once, actually hit once, not just shot at, they will usually stop and fire at whatever unit they can that is at their highest priority. We're going to skip that phase there because we can't do anything else. Yeah. And the tank's taking down that gate of ours. Ooh, like I said, you can sometimes get hit in the head, but the enemy always aims for their body.
Yeah, TK actually brings up a good point in chat. The combat system for this is really cool.
It's very unique. Out of all the strategy games I've played, XCOM people commonly come up with that, and many others. This one is you use your command points to select people, and then you move them around in real time, 3D, with your movement points, and you fire off at least once, or do whatever other action with it. This guy brought his brown pants. I always love that. He's the only one that likes to scream whenever you come around the corner here. So, at this point, Welkin shows up with his Edelweiss, the tank that is going to save us this mission here.
Entering combat.
So, we just drive the tank around here, and there is a crit spot on tanks. The crit spot being the radiator. So, to take out this light tank, it's fastest to shoot once into the radiator and once into the body. And as far as I know, this is the only game in the series that had 2 health bars, one for treads and one for the body. If you hit the treads, you do only tread damage, not body damage. So you have to be a bit more accurate. Alright. And that mission is complete. That's why I skipped the phases early on. Because you really couldn't do anything until Welkin gets there. Also, there was a baby crying for some reason. I'm sure if you play it, you'll all know the story and understand it.
It's a speedrun. We don't worry about the plot too much.
Not too much, no. Alright, so here's the first portion where it gives you a lot of story, and then it gives you a forced HQ visit. The headquarters is the main place where you go for squad barracks, command room, and all that. Command room, we're going to need to pick up our units that make up our squad. And Captain Vorat here is going to tell us all about the different units. I'm going to mash through it. There's the scouts. That's the shock troopers. That's the lancers. That's the engineers. That's the snipers. All right, thank you, Vorat. All right, and we have to pick specific people here. We either pick up... Well, it looks like we only have Nancy. So there's 2 different scouts you can choose from there. Looks like we got Nancy this time. Then we pick the first 3 shock troopers here. Mostly because the first 3 are always male. And in this game, male shock troopers animations fire faster than females. So you always want to pick up the male shock troopers, and it's just easy to grab the first 3. Then we go to the absolute bottom of the list, and we just mash, picking up everyone that we can. Alright, we got Yoko. That was the one I was looking for. Can we get Theold? Yes, we got Theold. So the only one we're missing... We got Jan. I love Jan in this. But the only one we're missing is a sniper, but the sniper comes into play late game, absolute last mission, so we're not too worried about that. We were more worried about the Lancers, because the 2 specific Lancers... Well, we need at least 1, but the 2 Lancers that I like to pick up are those 2, because they have very specific abilities absolutely needed for Chapter 7. And I'll explain that once we actually get to Chapter 7, because it's a long run through that, usually about 10 minutes or so. So here's Drill Instructor telling us to eat lead and spit bullets. He is absolutely amazing, and I need to go with very specific level ups here as well. 21331. All the level ups in the system, or actually level ups in general in this game, you don't level up a specific unit, you level up your class, and every single unit that you put onto the field will have that same exact level. They'll have slightly varying stats depending upon what unit you put out, but they'll always have the same level and access to the same equipment for that. So 21331, perfect. So by doing that, we get access to one of our first orders that we wanted, which was defense up. That'll come into play a little bit later. And then onto the last spot, which is the R&D facility. R&D is where you, of course, do all your research and development for all your weapons and armor and tanks, and to equip your tanks, but not your squad. If you needed to re-equip your squad with anything specific, you go elsewhere. Thankfully, we don't need to worry about re-equipping our squad with anything. So we just do everything here. Mash through all of that. And develop weapons, so we just need This one here, the Gallon 2, and then our BDU-2s. So there's two different types of armor. The Lancers get specific blast-resistant armor, and we don't care about upgrading that armor. So we only upgrade the main unit armor for making sure we don't die very quickly from bullets for our scouts and shock troopers and basically everyone else on the field. Alright.
If I have a minute, I'd like to catch up with a few donations that we had.
Alright, perfect.
One was from TK actually during, I believe, Demon Tower. Awesome job on this tricky game. Here's your 10 HP back. Heart. That's for Harry Otter, I assume. Might be hanging around still. Then we also have $15 from Valvalis going, who says, can't wait to see Mario ROM hacks and gotta have some Deltarune and free Enterprise. GL to all the runners. We'll have to check, but I imagine that 15 might be towards Deltarune in their own. We will have to see.
Alright, so for each of these missions, once you get your squad, it's all about putting out the specific units you need. For this mission, we only need one unit out there. Everyone else is already deployed, but we only use the one unit. Normally for most of these missions, it's run to the flag and capture it in order to win that map. So since we're going to be running past a bunch of units here, and it's because the flag is so close by, we're able to use just a shock trooper to absorb all the damage and just run to the flag and do what we need to do here. So we got Kevin here. So we just run on out here and just kind of absorb the damage. Now, shock troopers have higher defense, lower movement, as you probably see. Let's try to throw this grenade to the left of him. Good job. Cool, and he didn't teleport either. I love the physics, by the way. Everyone just goes flying with grenades. And because we don't upgrade our grenades, everyone just kind of lives. So very quick, we shoot the other shock trooper in the head. And mash to occupy. Right. So we just mash through some more cutscenes here and continue on to the next step. Alright, and for the next mission that's coming up is going to be, I believe, the bridge capture mission on the opposite side. So we're capturing the left bank, or west bank of the river, in order to lay waste to the east bank, basically capture this bridge here, so that we can get our main army, our troops along this river here. So for this mission, instead of deploying a shock trooper, we're going to have to deploy scouts, because the flag, circled in red up there, is very far away. So we need to deploy Alicia and Nancy here. So the two scouts here can't normally take the damage that's coming at them now, because there's going to be shock troopers commonly and even light tanks. However, with orders, we can increase the defense of our units and possibly even almost fully negate the damage of bullet fire coming at us. So you'll see that here, but first off, we have to mash through a little bit more info. And then, first things first, let's do some safety saves, just for the marathon safe strats here. So we select Nancy, who's totally got it. We'll just run her out.
Like enemy found?
So we pull out our grenade, we run around this corner, we scream at the shock trooper to get his attention,
Enemy spotted?
and then we throw out this wall. Playing this normally, I never knew you could destroy this wall at all. But you can destroy it.
Like
And because we
enemy
run
found?
straight into that little corner there, the shock trooper, with its very small field of view, will not be able to see our next scout coming around.
This is an order. up and get ready
So with the
to defend
defense
yourself.
boost, we're able to sustain a lot of damage now because a lot of the damage incoming will be almost heavily negated. Still does damage, like ones is the minimum it can ever do. But we take Alicia here, run around the corner, don't get too close to the shock trooper. Run right about here.
Enemy unit spotted.
Thank you.
Enemy unit
Let
spotted.
me just continue on through that. Now, if the shock trooper there didn't shoot and blow that crate up, we would have just had to shoot it ourselves.
Enemy unit spotted.
So, okay, throw it right about here. The shock trooper we can't really kill quickly. Stay out, thank you. And here's an instance where there's an enemy that's crouched. So we can't shoot him in the head. There is no critical damage ever done to crouched units, or prone units even. So we have to shoot 10 bullets into them, so it's always best to just shoot into the body to ensure it always hits.
My turn, okay?
Select Alicia a few more times here. Take out the scout. It just kind of slims down, and then mash to occupy.
So I was actually curious about something. You made that safety save earlier. I was just wondering how like risky it is in general, and the time loss that would come with that.
If anything goes wrong, since we usually don't save except for like chapter 7 or 11 for like very risky stuff, most of these safety saves are just like in case something goes wrong, you're gonna lose maybe a minute or so. If you're not saving through a typical run, it's just restart, or about 20 minutes in, you can restart and do another run. Counting tiny losses. So the next mission coming up here is one where you're going to see very often where it's just a run Alicia to the end and win. Alicia is the MVP for this game. She's the scout. Once buffed, she's able to run to just about any flag and capture it. So in order to get this going, we need Alicia out in front. We need the commanders, which I know are Rosie and Largo. You have to kind of know from playing the game and through the story to know who your commanders are. And the reason you want the commanders out there
The enemy supply
is
base
because the
through
commanders
these
give you
woods.
one extra command
Squad
point to
7,
use on your
move
turn.
out.
Without the commanders out there, you have that one less, so you're basically kind of nerfing yourself if you don't ever have your commanders out there. Alright. Again, just another safety save. But for this, select our orders, defense boost, we select Alicia.
This is an order. Brace up and get ready to defend yourself.
Now this map is a little bit more hectic because there's your first introduction to landmines there. Go around them. Don't eat those, okay? So, go around the landmines. And there's a couple around here, but we don't need to use them yet. Those are in use later.
Enemy unit
But we
spotted.
just run around the landmines and try to survive the initial onslaught of 2 shock troopers right around the corner here. So this is where you need the defense up. Let me pull out my Ragnade, which is my healing device that actually every unit in the game has. You can heal others or heal yourself very easily.
You have visibility there.
So as soon as we get within a specific trigger range for the base, General Jaeger will always show up. So we get here, we're inside, no one's shooting at us, we give ourselves a little safety heal, just in case. But we've used all of our movement. Send that there, and then we continue on. So we kind of cross in front of Jaeger. We're not close enough for him to shoot at us. Thankfully, most tanks are very close range for their auto return fire. Throw a grenade over there and destroy those boxes so we can get through.
Enemy sighted.
And then this is where a bit of RNG comes into play. This is typically where I would normally set a save. Because if this fails, I'd rather just reload from here and try it once more. So we have to round the corner and fire at this guy. We need to kill this guy within 3 command point uses. typically we do, and we got at least a couple hits on him, so it's looking good for that. But at this point, as a scout, we have very, very little movement. So we're just kind of crawling along here. Ooh, that's kind of bad. I hope all the next shots better hit. Because I need at least 2 command points to take out 2 other guys that are in the base.
My turn, okay? Enemy sighted.
Please hit. Good. So in order to take over a base, you need to have every enemy unit out of there. So we use either grenades or shoot them to death.
Moving out. Enemy
So
unit
we take
spotted.
this guy out, hopefully.
Please hit.
Uh-oh. Alright, that's a reload. So that's unfortunate. That is what could possibly happen. They're elite units, so they require a lot of hits, especially to their head. So, for the most part, it almost always works, but that's why I do a safety save.
My turn, okay? Can't beat the smell
Is
of
there some
dinosaurs.
variance in the aiming?
Nope. When you aim at someone, you do see the targeting reticle on that. So while you can put the crosshairs over them, you'll see like the general area or circle of where the bullets will try to hit within.
Can't beat the
Oh, that's
smell of
I guess I was thinking of like spread.
Yeah, so there is a bit of a spread for every unit. Shock troopers having assault rifles are given a very large spread, but this game, even though it seems like there's a huge targeting reticle, it's kind of lenient. It tends to still be like close towards the center. So that guy is down. Let's end the turn. Since I don't want to do that again, I'll do another safety save here. So 2 more uses here,
Enemy unit
and
spotted.
go for the head.
Please hit.
Scaring me there. Alright, and then the last one here, hopefully,
My turn, okay?
gets this guy in the head. So we just climb over those, shoot him in the head.
Now.
Good. And then we just mash to occupy.
Nice work. Keep taking.
So in a normal speedrun, this is definitely one of the more common places where if you fail that, you would just normally stop and restart the speedrun if you're trying to go for a PB or a world record. I usually give at least like 1 safety save there and reload, and if I fail that, I just start over. Mostly because the biggest time gain or loss is on Chapter 7. Skip over that. So anything marked with an asterisk in the book is a story that you don't have to watch in order to continue on with the main story. So we try to skip over those as well. During a speedrun, I might accidentally go through 1 or more. So for this map, we just choose Alicia, put her at the front, and that's it. We deploy. Another pretty straightforward one. This time we don't have to worry about too many units at the end. It's just 1.
The enemy's
So we
spread
just
out
run
through the
Alicia to the
desert
end
region.
and win.
Squad 7, move out.
Alright, and for this, orders, we need defense boost. Because we're running past a bunch of units and some of them shock troopers, the defense boost will help us greatly, but we are starting to take more damage here than we have in the past because, of course, the enemy units are having a lot more damage. Damage just increases through the levels.
Enemy unit spotted. Enemy sighted.
So for this, we just pull out our Ragnades. We'll heal ourselves up once we reach the end of our movement over here.
Proceed with caution.
Just as a safety save. Or it's not safe, safety heal.
My turn, okay?
And then continuing on, we'll hit this point. There's a little trigger around this area where it brings in a sandstorm, and Darude is playing somewhere, I'm sure. But we just continue around the corner, and we head directly towards this landmine that's anti-tank as a good movement to aim for, so that almost nothing sees us to shoot at us.
Moving out.
Climb up over this wall. And we're going to run straight for the flag. That was some pretty good movement. With our next movement, we will throw a grenade to hit that shock trooper out of the base. Okay, stop that. So we throw the grenade, knock him out. Whee! And even with the very small amount of movement, we're able to get to the flag very quickly there and just occupy it. Alright, and coming up in the next chapter is where we're going to hit our main headquarters visit. So, just in case, I want to save. Oops, it's F2 to get headquarters immediately. So because we didn't get one unit, I'm going back to the command room. Most likely, Marina's going to be there, our sniper. We're going to need her for the end. Wow, never mind. That's new. But we have a couple more visits to the headquarters here, so we don't worry about that too much. So training field. And we're going to need specific levels here. 74833. 4, 8, 3, and 3. Now, for all the levels on these characters or the classes, we're doing it mainly for access to either specific orders or for the next headquarters visit. 7, 4, 8, 3, 3. So that on the next headquarters visit, we're able to get one or both units up to a specific point for more orders. 7, 4, 8, 3, 3. All right, a little bit more here. 7, 4, 8, 3. Damage boost. I'll come into play later. 7, 4, 8, 3, 3. I believe this one is demo boost, the one we're really looking for. Yep. So exit the training field. We got our units up to the point where we need them. Now we go to R&D and we purchase almost all the upgrades except for a few things that we don't need or for setting up this chapter. So all of the armaments that we'll be getting are going to be like, we'll almost never need to come back to R&D after this point, except for our machine guns, which will be later on. So maximum for this. Then we got land car. Now the land car, we only need M2. You'll see in this chapter, once I get to it. GSR 2 as well, we only need one upgrade. Nope, don't need that. And our, of course, our defenses to the max. Alright, and this is where we also purchase the upgrades for our Edelweiss. So body enhancements, all of column 1 and all of row 1. We'll upgrade this a few more times here in another visit. But this is in order to give our tank a bit more health, a bit more armor, so that it can shrug off hits. And mainly is going to be this here, the sight and extended capacity. We need the extended capacity right for this chapter. The sight will come into play on another chapter, though. So the extended capacity gives us more shots on our phase for the mortar, which is an explosive round. And that is it. Train field, R&D. Again, another safety save after all of that. And then mash through a bit of these cutscenes. Ah. So here's Chapter 7. This is the story's first introduction to an almost impossible, unbeatable target. Normally playing through this, you'd go through just the normal steps, a bunch of different phases, and it gets harder and harder as time goes on. You're going to see something nice going on with this one. So we need Alex out here, which is our Sonic the Hedgehog. We need specific people. Yoko. Field. We need Eddie Engineer in order to restock us. And... oh my goodness, I'm forgetting someone. Oh. Duh. One extra guy. Largo. Hold on. Place that there. Yoko there. Placement, please. Deploy. So that's the units that we need in order to run one phase this main tank.
That tank is our target. We have to stop it. Squad 7, move out.
Alright. So this is also our biggest introduction to Maximilian on the field. He is the enemy's leader for the offensive into our area. So first things first, let's move our units out of the way. Let's get Carl here. Run on over and move around this wall and in front of that. Good. Next one.
Save me some
Field. Run them around the wall. So put them right there. And then we grab Alex, or our Sonic, as we call him. Move him on up. And we're going to take out all the people that are up here. Because if there's enemy units, they're going to be moving around. We don't want them moving around, so we're just going to take out all the other enemy units. Try to set up specifically for this. So I'm trying to set up for like a double kill, hopefully.
I'm on my way now.
Let's take this guy out first, though.
Like you.
So we don't want to deal with him
I did it.
in that action. And then what we try to do here is just kind of aim behind the scout,
I'm on my way now.
go for a headshot, and try to get a double kill. Cool, got it.
I did it.
You don't do that all that often, but it's just swag strats, plus it's faster to kill two with one command point.
I'm on my way now.
So we just kind of shoot this guy. So you're taking out all of the enemy units except for the main tank that we can't even damage yet. Just move him a little bit further away so that he doesn't get targeted by that tank, and then in the phase. And from here, we're going to be having to skip a couple of phases until the tank hits its first phase of vulnerability. So thankfully Maximilian didn't say anything here. He likes to speak out loud for only himself to hear. I say that because I've taken everyone else out on the field. So he just moves his tank forward. If there's anyone within range of the tank, he'll normally shoot at them. But since we have just the tank that's within range, he doesn't bother. Alright, in that phase.
Heed my words and no victory. Loose your fire, men. Annihilate
It's
our
just completely
enemies.
random if he decides to give an all-out order or not. So if he speaks, that's just slightly slow, but nothing compared to the RNG that will be happening in a moment. Alright. But because Maximilian doesn't care, instead of taking over the base, Maximilian just crushes the base. Alright, one more phase to skip. And now, here we go. So in the story here, they're probably saying something like, oh, we can't do anything about that tank, it's too destructive. But wait, there's something we can do. My casual playthrough, I threw pineapples into that thing and I destroyed it. It was a lot of fun. Let's see. Menu, system, save. So safety save here, because if this goes wrong, it's a huge time loss. But first things first, we need orders, demo boost, and this is for anti-tank, and we put it on our tank.
This is an order. Destroying the target is your top priority.
So with demo boost, we'll be able to do a lot of damage here.
Here we go.
We select our tank, increase payload, and we just fire at this spot specifically to do so very little damage to everything. That's a bit of a setup. So it does about 20 damage or so. Next up, Largo. Largo is great. And what we're looking for here is to not die from that gunfire. Tank Slayer is what we need to proc on every single one of our Lancer units. 1060 is what we want to see. So all this is a setup in order to one-phase this tank. Select Largo again, we move around the corner. Ooh, we got Tank Slayer again! Thank you for that good RNG. Fire at this, 1060, good. End that action. Select Largo one last time because he has only, all Lancers have only about 3 shots before they run out of ammo for their Lance. And then we just kind of run them around a little bit, and we ran out of AP. Thankfully, there's a nice handy-dandy little ladder here that we will climb up and down repeatedly in order to proc that, Tank Slayer. So going up and down ladders requires no AP whatsoever. So we're able to do that, and will count as a movement, thus it's capable of proccing any of our abilities. So next up, we use Yoko. She also has Tank Slayer. We run her over here, kind of hug the back, run around a little bit, trying to use up that AP before we have to climb up and down the ladder, which is unfortunate because we just used it all. So now it's, well, it's ladder con here. We're climbing up and down the ladder for as long as it takes to proc Tank Slayer. It is relatively quick, I say, with crossed fingers knocking on my wooden desk, but this is where the RNG comes into play. It can be really quick, and you get through this with a PB, or it can take forever. So there's the Radiator at 20 HP. We'll climb down a ladder in the turn there. And then we select Yoko again. Yoko, again, has 2 more shots after that first. Oh, perfect. So that one procced really quickly as we were moving into position here. So 1060 in the turn. We'll climb back down the ladder next and just kind of try to proc that one more time.
Leave it to Aunt Yoko.
So let's move around. Onto Yoko is my auntie indeed. She got Tank Slayer really quickly. Put that Radiator down to 20. I like to be nice to Yoko, put her down at the bottom of the ladder. So all the Radiators are now at 20 health, and if you were paying attention before, I said that the increased payload here does about 20 damage. That's every single Radiator done in at the same time. So this helps to skip a lot of the extra phases, because whenever you destroy one Radiator, the other 2 go down, or the others go down, however many are left. Oops, cutscene. So by destroying them all at once, it makes the tank that we're fighting vulnerable immediately on our turn. So we're able to destroy the tank with the help of Tank Slayer once again. So skip through all the extra dialogue that we got there. And I'll do another safety save here, just in case I mess up on something, because we don't want to go through Ladder Con again. And now we select, over here, Field. Our other Lancer, third one, that still has ammo, because they haven't used any. And then we do the same thing. Move them around, try to proc Tank Slayer. Field has an extra proc that could happen, much rarer. That's called Anti-Armor. You can get Anti-Armor and Tank Slayer at the same time to do a lot of damage, which would speed this up. But looks like Theo doesn't want the glory today, so we have to climb up and down the ladder. All the while, there is a Valkyria from the enemy, charging up her lance, ready to absolutely decimate us if we stay within range of her sight for too long. So, mash on that action button to climb up and down the ladder repeatedly to try to proc Tank Slayer, please. He's not wanting to give it today. I think Theo knows that he's on the big screen and he doesn't want to do anything but be seen from behind. Pay attention to the enemy's position. F in chat for Theo.
Return fire.
My legs aren't listening to me.
No Fs, but there's one of your butt emotes.
Poor Theo.
Oh, there they are.
Oh my goodness.
It was just funny with the delay, like that's what came up right after you said that.
Yeah, from Theold's backside. There we go. So this does happen. Problem is, for Chapter 7 though, this is commonly what will happen that would allow you to just end the run and restart if someone takes like 30 seconds to proc their Tank Slayer. And we absolutely need it on every single Lancer shot, which is very unfortunate. Because if we want to one round, or one phase this tank, and this is what we would do. Oh, come on, Field. Yeah. This is also why I had the estimate to be about 20 to 25 minutes higher than expected. To, you know, a couple things could mess up, but this is the biggest. Oh god. Fire, fire, fire. This is what could happen. Any one of them could do that. Alright. 1.
Save me some glory.
Thanks. Alright. 2. So without Tank Slayer, you do very little damage, but with Tank Slayer, Lancers do a lot of damage to this. Alright, move around, AP. Alright, back to Ladder Con.
We don't know what that thing's got. Be careful.
Now, unfortunately, the other thing is, because Field commonly doesn't proc anti-armor, more than likely we're going to have to hope for Field to proc Tank Slayer as quickly as possible to get through this.
Try to keep your head down.
Actually, if we have a moment, we do have one more donation.
Go ahead.
This one is from one Leif Otter, who has donated $5 to say, gently nudge the occupying forces out. With explosives. Good luck on the run, put this to whatever Delta Rune incentive is out there.
Gently nudge them as they fly away happily. Alright, so we've done that. Let me do another safety save, because sometimes the engineer will get lasered here. But we've run out of ammo for all of our Lancers, so we need the engineer to not die, give him ammo, run around the corner. And that's his only job.
Check me out.
Alright, move around a little bit some more with the old. No, alright. Climb up and down the ladder for more Tank Slayer.
Take out a tank and I'll be a hero.
All right. One more hit. One more hit is all we need.
Check me out.
Thank you.
Take out a tank and I'll be a hero.
And there we go.
Not a coward.
That's one phase for that horrible, horrible fight that is normally a lot more horrible if you have to do it with its regular phases. And if you try to do it normally, it's still going to take a lot longer than doing it even with that long of a wait. So, unfortunate for the RNG, but we managed to get that done. And now, on to the next one. So there's 2 missions in this chapter, and after this first mission here, we'll be able to go back to the HQ to get a couple upgrades and level up. But for the first mission here, we've kind of been split off from our main force. Squad 7 only has the 2 units here now. We're going to have Welkin and Alicia running to the end to try to get out of this forest, hopefully safely. So for the first phase here, I need to select Alicia twice and then Welkin this last time for movement. Is that a mortar? So unfortunately, for this mission, Alicia sprained her ankle, so she is going to be the slow moving scout this time. She has very little AP, and so we need to kind of heal her up a little bit at some point, but that's done through specific means.
Enemy sighted.
So deal with this guy, shoot him in the head. It's kind of hard to tell if you're looking at it visually, but you can always tell if you're aiming at the head if the shot indicator at the top shows a much shorter amount compared to hitting the body. So it's always going to be like, at this point, 2 shots to kill him off compared to like 4 or 5 shots to the body. Alright, so now we move Alicia on up over here. We get her to her favorite tree, hug it tight. She loves nature. And then we get Welkin over here.
Ready to go.
And we move him along, and we take a right turn immediately because he's so easily distracted by these fireflies, which are called something different in this universe. What is it? Something. Lubricant, what's, I don't know. Oops. Don't crouch in that. Jeez. Now for Welkin here, we try to stay a little bit far to the left in the center there to trigger this event. And this event is actually centered around Welkin. So instead of the flower. So if Welkin is close enough to Alicia, then we can actually heal Alicia like we did there through the wall. So she doesn't have to be absolutely close by. That's why we had Alicia go the route that she did at the start there. Alright. Enemy will shuffle their deck a little bit, run around. And then Mortar Strike. Thankfully in this area, the Mortar Strikes have a much larger circle than what the hitbox actually is for the Mortar Strike. So we can kind of be on the edge and not worry about it. So for this, select Welkin twice and then Alicia once. Alright. We don't want to trigger this light here. And if we're fast enough, we should be able to get past the next searchlight without getting spotted.
Enemy sighted.
Yoink. Alright, they didn't see us. Alright, and we do a safety save here. I typically do a lot of safety saves in this spot. But just because this can be a little finicky. So select Welkin, and we try to line up so that he can't spot us. Yeah, right there. Throw a grenade at the scout. The grenade should kill the scout, I think it was. Yeah. Perfect. You wait for the searchlight to go by, and then run. Because there's another guy there that doesn't move. He just stays in that spot watching the area. Alright, now we get Alicia. So we need to get Alicia caught up. And we try to get her there as safely as possible. We don't want anything to go wrong with this at all. What was that? Oh, she teleported back a little bit. All right. Anyways, we need her to get thrown ahead by those landmines here. You'll see that in the next map as well for movement sakes, because it pushes her a little bit further ahead. And we need every little bit of movement that we can get to try to get to the end as quickly as possible. Now, unfortunately, I didn't have quite the movement available to get me past that searchlight without stopping. So we just kind of do that. So in that phase, and I believe I'm far enough to the left not get hit by that circle. Good. You tend to want to be on the left side of that narrow area that Alicia's in. If you're near the center, you're probably going to get hit.
My turn, okay?
So we select Alicia twice more for this phase. Moving her up as far as possible here. We're not too worried about the searchlight. It's best to obviously not get spotted because it slows us down as it plays the sirens, but typically I get spotted here. But we're usually out of range of the mortar strike, so we don't worry too much about that. Heal herself up a little bit more here, just for safety's sake, because since we're limping, the soldier that's around the corner, that's a shock trooper, can do a lot of damage to us, even though there's still a tree there to block the sight. Tend to do another safety save here, just because that guy is a laser. So,
yeah, lasers seem to cause problems.
A lot of problems.
Enemy sighted.
Okay, there. And there's also the rare time where when I get into the grass, the enemy can still see me. Very rare. Just a little bug that happens, but for the most part, tends to not happen, and so I just go through the grass, don't get spotted by the searchlight, don't get shot at by the shock trooper, move up as far as possible, and then just end the phase there. We don't need to move Welkin up just yet. Alright. This next phase is going to be the last phase. So we're just, since Welkin has the fastest movement, we just select Welkin, run to the end, and we'll hit a hitbox there that we have to wait in and have both of our units in order to win. It's faster if we can get our movement correct, not touch those searchlights, but doesn't matter if we trigger them or not. So Welkin is now in the end hitbox, so we need to get Alicia over there.
Moving out.
And so she's just going to limp on by. And if I had her movement correct, she'd be able to get this in this one command point use. However, she's a little bit further behind, so I'll have to
Can't beat the
move
smell of
her
fresh
once
soil.
more after this.
Moving out.
All right, move up a little bit more. And operation complete. Alright, mash through all the text boxes. Oh yeah, might as well mention, for every single mission, you're rated anywhere from A down to like F, depending upon only how quickly you finish it. So if you're speedrunning it, you're always getting A's. So let's head back to the headquarters where we need to do a few more upgrades. Check the command room because I still do not have the sniper yet. So, wow, she still hasn't shown up. I mean, yeah, it's weird. Alright, so training field. I believe here is the only thing we need. Training field. Yep, just training field. So it's going to be 11, 5, 8, 3, 4. 11, 5, 8, 3, and 4. Five, so it's just scouts all the way up. 11, 5, 8, 3, 4. And what we're trying to do here is to get scouts up to 11, because when whenever any unit gets up to 11, they become elites. And the bonuses per class is kind of different, but typically you get more health, more armor, more movement. And for some, like in this game, Scout and Shock Trooper will get a specific extra attachment, which is a grenade launcher, which comes into play this next mission. Alright. And yeah, no R&D for this. Oh, gotta mash that skip cutscene button. I'll do a safety save inside this mission. There's going to be a couple safety saves in this mission as well, because a couple things could go wrong. So if things fail, it's just a couple second loss. So only thing we need out is Nancy, our scout, Rosie, and Largo for command points. We're going to need to use every single command point. Though if we're good enough, we're only going to use all but one. But we'll see here. So right now, Welkin and Alicia are kind of split off the main group, and we need to get Welkin over back to his tank in order to start the next phase of this. So I need to first save. And then we're going to run Welkin on over. Hopefully the Shock Trooper here does not have a laser beam of accuracy.
Gotta love nature.
Alright, looks like we're pretty good with that. So we run around the corner. We need to heal ourselves up as much as possible here, because we're going to use landmines to propel ourselves gracefully forward. Graceful like a goose.
Ready to go.
Alright, and before getting the next one, of course, it will kill you if you're too low on health, obviously. So, heal yourself up. They do about, I think, 160 damage. So... Perfect, he didn't teleport back, so that's the furthest I've seen him move.
Move carefully. See any hostile units?
Alright, and then we just run towards the tank, and within the specific area, we are able to hit the next phase. Alright, and then we do another safety save here, because this requires accuracy and positioning of the tank and movement of a scout to be proper for it to work. So we move our tank up. We're going to need to fire the tank twice because it does the most damage here. Get right up to here, and we need to shoot the wall back there. Alright, there's one shot. Two anti-armor rounds from the tank will destroy the wall.
Entering combat.
Right. And then we need to position the tank so that it blocks the gunfire from this tank here. Whoa, what are you doing? What are you doing? Okay. I hope that's good enough. Now, our scout. Don't get hit, don't get hit, don't get hit. Okay, there we go. No! You little bugger. Alright, so we were hoping for Power Scout in order to do the most damage and possibly kill the Shock Trooper. We can still possibly do it if we're accurate. We just need to hit him in the head. And Nancy should totally got it. Let's see here. 2 shots. Alright, good. It's faster to, of course, kill him off immediately and just run in. But we get to see Nancy all happy because she destroyed someone's life. Then we run into the camp and capture it. A couple things can go wrong there. Typically, you miss with the tank, and you have to reload, or your scout gets obliterated. Either one. Welkin or the Nancy in this case. Alright, and into Chapter 9. Chapter 9. This is where there's a huge difference between the PlayStation version and the PC version. On PC, the tank turrets actually spin faster. So in this, on the PC, it's a little bit more on the edge of your seat, I would say, because the APC's turret spins and targets your unit a lot faster than it would on anywhere on the PlayStation. So we need to deploy Alex up front and all of our command points, which are going to be Rosie, Alicia, and Largo. Deploy those units. This is commonly another place where runs can go to die because you can just get killed. And if you're trying to go for a PB or world record, if your unit dies here, you just, have to reset. But thankfully you save rather close by, so you can run it a couple of times. You only lose about 10-15 seconds for the run. So for here, the enemy is not the usual Imperials, they're somebody else. I'm sure if you're into the story, you can figure that out while playing the game. They're also bad people. Apparently everyone's out to get us. We have stuff that they want, so right now they have someone in there that we want back, and we can't use explosives. So we use Sonic the Hedgehog here. We give him 2 orders. We give him Demo Boost and Defense Boost.
This is an order. Destroying the target is your top priority.
Orders, Defense Boost. And I need to save after that.
This is an order. Brace up and get ready to defend yourself.
I love that order animation so much. I know Blaze is calling it out in chat.
Yep, I love it. Just to make sure. All right. Now Alex is on his way now, so we run forward.
Enemy spotted.
Try to get around this corner. Don't get hit.
Enemy spotted.
If you're looking at the tank, you would see that the turret was on us.
I'm on my
So,
way now.
Okay, around the corner. Get it. Nope. Be inaccurate. Oh, sweet. He was inaccurate, so we survived that with a lot of health. 69, enjoy it. There's a lot of times where that turret will just laser you and you're done for. But that's the best strat. Use Demo Boost, the maximum anti-armor boost you can on a Shock Trooper, and give him a defense up, because you only have defense up at this point. And just hope to survive. Alright, this chapter. So there's another 2 missions in this, and we visit the HQ after the first one. This one I absolutely love to call... I call this one the Tokyo Tank Drift. Because the only thing you need to do is move your tank around this little circuit to the end elevator. And in order to do that, we put out, not Nancy, our commanders to give us the most command points built up, and then just deploy. Deploy, thank you. So we don't need to move anyone else. We're not worried about capturing a flag. We just need to get to the end spot with Welkin and the Edelweiss, yeah.
Move out.
And along the way, we have to worry only about Lancers, really? That could try to slow us down or destroy us. So, first things first, select our Edelweiss, and we'll move it 3 times for pretty much every single phase. Trying to move it any further is, like with any unit, after the 3rd selection of them, they will have the absolute minimum AP usage for moving around. So let's try to shoot this guy in the head. Alright, taken out. Second AP usage. And shoot that guy in the head. Good. And then one more movement. That usually gets us to the start of this. Wait, where's the nature at? Alright, in that phase. So I like to call it the Tokyo Tank Drift, mostly because when I started learning the speedrun and while playing the game, I did not know that the physics was actually based on frame rate. So I have a 144 hertz monitor, so the frame rate was 144 or higher. And tanks act extremely broken when it's not 60 or 30 FPS.
Hostile sighted.
So my tank was actually sliding and I couldn't control it sometimes, and it was just absolutely hilarious to see happen. Then I figured out how to actually set it to guaranteed 60 FPS, which is just VSync it.
Enemy sighted.
So I like that the enemy didn't move on their turn. It's kind of random for these 3 enemies, but I like that they didn't move because it allows me to show off a different tactic here. So they will move if you don't kill them. So the best way to take them out, at least for this group here, is try to aim right on top of the building to kill them both.
Now.
It's a very huge explosion. Alright, and we need to use a couple more of our points here in order to take out the tank that is on the bridge here. So we'll need to select our tank 3 times in order to take it out.
Fire. Entering combat.
And 2. And then the final one.
Entering combat.
This is why we had the extra commanders out there for the command points. Because very rarely you can miss or hit a tread. Let's move ourselves up just a little bit here. And we're good. In phase. Alright. Ignore me, ignore me. Perfect. So that's a Lancer that's shuffled on away. There's a rare chance, I find it kind of RNG, that he could actually turn and go onto the bridge and start shooting at you. Very, very rare, though. So, we'll select our Edelweiss and move it over the bridge. So that's an anti-tank mine. We're just kind of happily driving around it. That was an anti-personnel mine that we drove over, though, and those do no damage to us, thankfully. Oh, let's make sure. There we go. And try to take him out. Good, makes it easier. Now there's another Lancer trying to be cheeky in the grass here, so in order to actually get him to stand up, we run him over. Back up a little bit, and then shoot him in the head. Now, running over enemies does 0 damage. You can run over them all you want, it just looks hilarious. And you'll see that a lot as we get to the end of this map, but I can see why that they didn't want damage to be done, because you could possibly try to kill enemies off by just rolling over them constantly with your AP. I don't like you. What I was trying to do there was just hit the guy in the body in order to do enough damage that I don't have to worry about movement too much next turn. Nope. Alright. Let's turn back up a little bit so that they can't fire at us. Hopefully they don't fire at us in the phase. Enemy moving. Good. They didn't do anything. Alright.
Here we go.
So if you don't shoot the guy, this tank here in the body, at least once on that last phase, you can still destroy them and get to the end rather quickly. It's just that you're moving very, very slowly towards the end there. So I find it to be just a little bit smoother to hit them at least once, even spending that extra command points on the last phase in order to take it out right here. So with him gone, we're able to move freely. And run this guy over to do cartwheels. Cartwheels for days.
The labor camp is up ahead. Continue your advance.
Again, it does no damage to them. It's just absolutely hilarious to see them ragdoll out of the way.
Yeah, it's fantastic.
And operation complete. As we get to the end and get into that elevator. Alright, and now we need to actually get into, and not there, the headquarters. Got some more upgrades that we need to get. And since we're going to the headquarters, let's check the command room once more. We need our sniper. We're the final... Oh, we got some more people. There we go. Marina. So we need to remove one person and get our sniper Marina here. Marina is absolutely needed because she has one specific ability, which I'll explain once we get to the final mission for her. But that's why we don't worry too much about it, but I check every time I come back in here. So this is 128838 for chapter 10. So 128838. Caution is exactly what we needed. 128838. Once more with feeling. 128838. And we're good there. 838. And with that, was there an R&D? R&D is at 11, not 10. For something else in particular. Alright. Mashing through a couple more cutscenes here, and then we'll get into the second part of this chapter. Alright. So, for this mission, we only need to deploy one unit. For every mission, Welkin and or his tank is almost always out there, and they're another lost condition, but for this, we just need to have Alicia out. We're going to run her to the end and win in a very unique way this time. So for this mission, we need to do one thing first
Our job is to make sure that bomb gets
before
set.
we actually go
Squad
and
7,
complete
move
the
out.
mission entirely. So for the first phase here, we need to just move Alicia into position, and then on the second phase, we'll be able to take out both objectives simultaneously. So we select Alicia here,
Moving out.
and we're going to select her twice and move her into position.
The smell of fresh soil.
Pull out the Ragnade, or healing grenade, as it is, to heal us up after we pass this shock trooper up.
Enemy sighted. Enemy sighted.
Alright, and he missed us quite a bit, but we need to have almost maximum health for our positioning up here. Also, every phase that you go through, all of your units will heal up just a little bit, except for the tank. So we're not too worried that she's not at max, because she will heal up when it hits the enemy phase. So we position right there.
Sure you stay calm.
And there's a nice medium tank on the end of that bridge there. I will safety save at this point. Save. And in that phase. So on this map, there's a giant train on some train tracks. We can't destroy the train because it's extremely heavily armored. So instead, we're just going to destroy the tracks that the train is on. That's what we're going to do next phase. If we have Alicia survive here. So, tank hits. They can also critical hit by hitting you in the head. If you have enough health, commonly it's going to hit the body of Alicia, and she's just going to get knocked back. We'll have to heal her up next phase when we select her, and then just run through. But I haven't seen it yet. But you can still get hit in the head and actually lose Alicia there, which means you would have to just restart. Or reload from the save in this case. Sniper tank for the win. Alright, another safety save, so I can select the tank 4 times here, and what I need to do is actually snipe a bridge on the other side of the map. this is why we got the sniper scopes, 2 of them, early on when we were upgrading everything. So I wait until I see about a couple of sight lines pop up, and there's a makeshift bridge that I hit on the first turn. And that's all you need in order to complete the first phase of this operation, or first part of this operation. So with that, then we no longer get any enemy reinforcements from there. So that actually turns on the elevator we need to use to get to the second part of the map. But in order to get there, Alicia's going to need to heal up a little bit, and in order to survive as well, we need caution and defense up.
This is an order. Advance with caution.
So defense up
Stay sharp.
obviously sounds exactly what it sounds like. You just have increased health for that unit. Caution, it was a little bit harder to understand, but what it does is it lowers the enemy's damage on their intercept fire, which is what you see the enemy doing whenever they're firing at you while you're moving. So we select Alicia here, just for safety's sake. I'm also going to Ragnade.
I'm taking
Wow, and
special
she's
care.
healing herself up to max, which is slow because we don't need that. Just added some extra phase, extra frames there where Alicia is smiling happily that you're donating. So, with caution up and defense up, Alicia just
Spotted.
takes no damage, or the minimum 1 damage, and it's hilarious because it's just tickling her at this point.
My turn, okay? Can't beat the smell of fresh soil.
So just keep running here. There's a couple more shock troopers, scouts, and all that. We're not too worried about that though. Activate this next elevator, and then we'll run down there, get to a specific spot where we can shoot the explosive, and finish the mission here.
Moving out. Can't beat the smell of fresh soil.
So we cross the bridge here. We can't shoot through the railing. It's actually a full hitbox. So we have to get to the end of the bridge here, and then fire at that explosive, and operation complete. So skip through a couple more spots here, but General Gregor here thinks himself invincible. However, he forgot that Wind Waker is a good game. Sploosh. I love it. So long, Gregor, indeed. So that's it for chapter 10. Next chapter is also a really fun one, because you're going to see Alicia once again running through a lot of gunfire pointed at her. Oops. You go back to the HQ first, though, because at this point we also get access to a second tank. We now have another tank driver. So what we do, we need to go, it is just, yep, R&D visit here. So we need to purchase a couple things in R&D, as well as switch some things out on the tank, the new one. So what was that? Combat suit and improved body. Alright, so uniforms, we just get the highest grade combat suit possible, which we need for this mission. I've done it before with the BDU 4s, and you can do it, but it's not the greatest. So item-wise, we also need to get body enhancements. Just these two here down the middle. We need reinforced body too, because that gives us more AP, faster movement, and a bit more armor overall. And then we go to the Shamrock and... Nope, those are upgrades. Outfit tanks. Go to the Shamrock and we equip a Gatling gun on it instead, and this is a setup for all the times that the Shamrock is used later. Right. Now just skipping over the cutscenes here until we get to the next mission. And this mission is fun. I'll save on the outside. I'm just gonna save multiple times through this mission. A lot of mean things can happen, but it's pretty straightforward. You just run Alicia to the end on the second phase. We can't get her all the way to the end on the first turn, or on the first phase, so we have to wait until the second phase. So we just position only Alicia. We don't need anything else. Alicia, only Alicia, only Alicia. Okay.
Now,
And we'll move Alicia through Normandy
Clear out the
beaches.
Imperial shoreline defenses. Squad 7, move out.
And I call it that because there's actually 2 pillboxes, I guess I'll call them, or like fronts here, that have some very, very damaging guns in them. We can't destroy the encampments or the entrenchments for those guns, so we have to just find a way to get through it. So to get through it, we just select Alicia and hug the wall. Those things would melt you, and they might still tap us a little bit.
Enemy unit spotted.
But we hug the wall. Oh god, yeah. Like that. And then we position ourselves so that we have no sight lines above our head.
I'm taking extra special
That's
care.
good. So we heal back up to full. Because we will need it for the next phase. So the reason why we don't want any sight lines above our head is because if we can't see the enemy can't see us, and thus will do absolutely nothing on their phase here. If they can see us, they'll move and they'll try to attack us. We don't want that. And the enemy does nothing because they don't believe that we're actually inside the base yet. So right here, we're going to do 2 things: defense up and caution.
This is an order. Brace up and get ready to defend yourself.
All right, next one. Caution. This is an order.
Advance with caution. Stay sharp.
So stoic. I'll give myself a safety save here and a couple more times in this level because I don't really like it, but you know, for marathon safe strats, might as well save a bunch. So
Enemy sighted.
we get our defense down, nullifying defense down, but not nullifying caution, and then we get lit up.
Enemy sighted.
Enemy sighted, by the way.
Enemy unit spotted.
Don't step on that landmine, it's death.
Yeah, ouchie.
Extra special care.
Ooh, first aid boost. And they're still shooting at me.
My turn, okay?
I typically can make it through this. No, I'm still gonna safety
Enemy sighted.
safety up. About 260 should be enough, but sometimes these pillboxes up at the top will also laser you down.
Enemy unit spotted.
It's a decent amount of health. I like it. Thank you. All right, and I'm gonna only slightly change up my strat here. So we have a lot to do with a lot of command points at the top. This is a backup strat in case I can't grenade this guy out immediatly. I'm gonna attack boost her, safety save, and then we're gonna try to grenade boost that shock trooper out. So we got 143 health. We got a decent amount of health, but we're gonna grenade, regular grenade here.
Enemy unit spotted.
Climb over.
Can't beat the smell
Yeah,
of
let's
fresh soil.
more than likely this is where you're gonna see him teleport. Like so. So instead,
Okay?
wow, he didn't take much damage there either. Instead, we just shoot him in the head. Hopefully he does. Okay, good. He did not duck. Enemy units and yourself can duck incoming fire, which means it nullifies all damage. So, thankfully he didn't. What we're gonna do here...
This can't be good.
let's heal up. So I actually want this unit to kind of die quickly from the enemy intercept fire. It can happen. Stop that. Come on. Okay. Never mind, I'm just gonna shoot him. And only if you position yourself just right, the tank there will take him out. And you saw the health bar there for a little bit.
Can't beat the smell of fresh soil.
I was hoping it was going to go fast, but we just shoot him. Looks like we had to shoot both of them, and we occupied the camp. So yeah, could have gone a little bit faster, but still a lot faster than having to reload because the guy didn't get grenaded out and stayed out. So, end of chapter 11 there. There's onions being cut. I'm not sure why, I just always cry there. Onions everywhere. Anyways, go ahead and play the game. Don't hit the star and enjoy the story at that point. And continuing on, we are returning to Brule. This is where we all started in the very first couple of missions of the game. We capture Brule. So, Squad 7's coming back here. And all we need to do is beef up Alicia and run her to the end and win. So position units, Alicia, deploy.
Isara, we're taking back our home, Is. Squad 7, move out!
So let's move out. Only thing I need to do here is defense boost, though. Yeah, just defense boost and anti-armor up.
Just real quick, I was looking away from the screen and I heard we're taking back our homies.
Mm-hmm. So defense boost. Yep.
This is an order.
Is the name of one of the characters.
I totally misinterpreted that.
Okay. What'd you hear then?
It's our homies. We gotta go get them.
Oh.
This is an order.
I've never heard that. Then again, I always have subtitles on, so I always use that as well.
Yeah, I need to clip that and see if I'm just crazy, but I'm pretty like it totally sounded like that.
Enemy sighted.
The town's a mess.
So, run through. We'll take some damage. Not too much. After that first initial movement, we don't take much damage afterwards, so we just run Alicia on over towards the end, and there's 2 units in the base area. So we need to take them out. Both of them out. So we hopefully try to do that with a grenade boost. Hopefully. And he teleports back in. Mash is a sniper, and he loves to teleport. I'm gonna do a safety save here because I actually have had it once before. Had him do 8 counts on me and dodge every single shot I threw at him. That was fun.
My turn, okay?
But so long as he doesn't dodge, he's taken out. But because he's a commander in the red armor, they have a very high dodge rate. I'm not sure of the exact percentage, but we'll see. So far it still seems about 10-20% or so. So we took him out, and then we need to take out this gun encampment by shooting the guy behind the gun, and the guy behind the gun is considered armored rather than personnel. So that's why we did the damage boost for doing anti-armor up on Alicia. So now we capture the base and complete that operation. Time to match through a bit more of these cutscenes. Let's see, chapter 13. I think this is the start of the 2-parter. Yep. So this next mission coming up is a bit more of unique tech for speedrunning. Because we're going to do a blind grenade shot to deal with what's happening here. So all we need to do is deploy Alicia out there, and only Alicia, and then run her to the end and win on the second phase But we need to do more than just running her to the end. We need exact placement and exact shots. Blind shots. So, Alicia will be over here.
It's time.
So no one else is out on the field, because on the field there is that. That's the dead zone. Anyone out there is dead when it switches to the enemy turn. So what I need to do... I didn't need to safety save at this point. It was one around the corner, but just in case. We select Alicia, and we're just going to run her across that. Because if anyone is in it, they typically will die. But if you have people not in it, obviously they live. So we run a very specific path so that we don't get shot at by the pillboxes around here. Alright, right about here. So that's one pillbox that almost got a shot in on us. It was kind of smoking there, so it did try shooting once.
Moving out. Can't beat the
Now that
smell
we're
of
on the
fresh
other
soil.
side, we round not this corner, but the next, hopefully, before the guy can spot us. Yes! Shoot him in the head. So if we get the lead on him, we can take him out before he lights us up, so we don't actually have to heal at this point. So we make sure there's no sight lines above our head, meaning the enemy can't see us. And if the enemy doesn't see us, the enemy doesn't know we're here, and so they won't act on their turn. Just in case, though, I'll save. And in the phase. Yep. Enemy doesn't know where we're at, and on the first phase, like typical, they don't actually do anything. They wait until the second phase before moving. So here's something special. What we're going to do here is line up a specific shot to do a blind grenade knockback. So we pull out our Ragnade because it's actually got a good cursor for it. We line it up with specific pixels right about here. You really have to look at a picture for it if you don't know where it's at. All the way out, slightly back in, fire a grenade, and both got knocked out, and one teleported back in, I believe.
Enemy unit spotted.
Alright, so we do have to take that guy out, which is fine. The backup strat here is to shoot one of them dead. If both of them had teleported back in, it would just be a quick reload and try it again. So this guy is also a shock trooper, but doesn't see us. For the sight radius, scouts have about like 170 degrees, and shock troopers have like 80. So shock troopers looking in one direction will almost never turn to see you if you're to the left or right of them. Scouts will almost always see you unless you're sneaking up right behind them. And most of the other units also have that very small sight radius. So, now that this is opened up, we'll move Alicia on over to this point, and then we'll need to beef her up so that she can take out a heavy tank with her little rifle there. Plus, because we killed one guy, there's an extra guy that spawned there that's an elite unit. So what we need to do here, defense boost just in case.
This is an order. Brace up and get ready to defend yourself.
And then we need to do demo boost as well. Orders, demolition boost.
This is an order. Destroying the target is your top priority.
Now, so far, all these boost, demo boost, and whatnot have shown a bit off on their potential of making a kind of weak unit extremely strong. That's a heavy tank that is now dead. So long as you shoot in the critical weak point, which is the radiator on the back. So that's a scout taking out a heavy tank, all because of demolition boost. And because there's one extra unit in here, I crouch because this guy could still duck because he's elite. Thankfully he did not. We take him out, and I uncrouch and just capture. And operation complete. Pass through a bit of that text. So that's part one. Chapter 13. So we have another visit here. And F2. Derp. Go back to the headquarters immediately. And now we need to only... This is 14. Level up and purchases. 12, 11, 8, 3, 15. So 12, 11, 8, 3, 15. So it's basically just Shock Trooper and Sniper. $11, 8, 3, and 15. Okay, one more. And the nice thing about the leveling up of the units, the way we did it so far, is so that with the Shock Trooper and Sniper reaching elite status right at the same time, it plays the fanfare only once. So we know both of them classed up. Oop. Now it's just Snipers. 12, 11, 8, 3, 15. Now, by the end, we'll want to have Snipers at 16, but we do not have enough experience to do that yet. So we just get them up to 15, because at 15, they get a very specific order that we need for this next mission. And it's the most broken order in the series. Penetration. So I'll explain that more as we get into the next mission here. So let me focus on R&D, purchase... Yep, just purchase the machine gun, highest level. At this point, we don't have to worry about any armor or anything else. We just need to worry about machine gun and maybe the tank. No, actually, just the machine gun at this point. So we're getting the machine gun up to its highest for clip size, because in this game, more bullets you shoot, more damage you do. That's pretty straightforward. Even though the other weapons can do more damage per shot, it's always less in the end compared to just shooting a lot of bullets. All right, mash through a bit more text. And then
Actually,
go ahead.
I was gonna say, before we start the next segment, maybe now's a good time for a quick donation.
Definitely, because it's on rails for the next minute or two here.
All right, well, perfect. So first of all, we have a $25 donation from, I believe it's Xipher, Xiphe. No comment, but thank you very much for that if you're watching still. And we are at a total, if I am correct, of 786. Which for our first, like, our pre-show, just having done this for a few, doing a few weeknights in a row to work up for it, I think we're making great progress. That's fantastic. So thank you, all for helping with that.
All right. Is there any more?
I think we're all caught up.
All right. Well, this is the on-rails section here. So at this point in the game, I like to kind of joke and say that Alicia got her Captain Planet powers. She is, well, Valkyria. It's explained more in the story, but she's angry that the enemy has destroyed all the green, lush landscape. So she's going to destroy them along with the landscape. She's very angry. Never mess with Captain Planet. But it's usually at this part in the game, because it's very automated. Yeah, about 30 seconds to about a minute or so. I'm not sure how long, but you can either run to the restroom real quick to, use a quick restroom break, or you can stretch or do just about anything else for like a quick moment, because you do nothing. Don't have to do anything here but watch Alicia not take any damage and destroy everything for you. At least for her 2 turns there. On our turn, we do have to at least... I'm going to safety save here, in case something bad does happen, but... I only had to deploy the Scout, because we only need the Scout in position to one place, and we need the Lancer in position at the other place. But Alicia or not Alicia, but Nancy here, our scout that we chose, had to be deployed, and that's it. So we run Nancy all the way over to this point, just past these past the rubble on the ground here as a good point, so that this guy doesn't shoot at us. But now we pick up Largo, and we move him twice to a very specific position, so that we can ambush a team that's going to ambush us. So we move over the sandbags because moving around them is just kind of slower, unfortunately, for Lancers. This is the only time in the game, I believe, that we use a Lancer, besides Chapter 7 heavily. So that was 2 movements for Largo. Let's end that phase. Now the enemy gets a phase, and because Alicia's a big old target, the enemy is almost guaranteed to always shoot at Alicia. Except for this guy. They're anti-tank and they will never fire at personnel, and since Alicia is considered personnel, they'll fire at the Edelweiss, but because we got the extra armor package, we are able to survive those 2 hits. Without the extra armor, we would be either very low on health or outright dead if I picked up absolutely no upgrades. And tree. No, okay.
Kaboom.
That's the one thing I love about this game and the series in general, is that all of the text for what you're doing, the enemy doing, there's like the flavorful text that pops up, kind of reminding you of like a comic book visual. It's so great.
Yeah, for a war game, it's very cutesy.
Yep. So we select Largo. We need to move him into position over here. So we move him, I believe, just this once. Yeah, just this once. He's in the right spot. And then we're going to beef up Nancy here, our scout that we have out on the field. We're going to need demo boost.
This is an order.
So
Destroying the
that way
target
we
is
get a
your
nice
top
boost
priority.
to anti-armor on a very small pea shooter with Nancy. We're going to do one more thing here. Penetration. So penetration is the most broken order in the game. That's why you get it at like level 15 on snipers in Valkyria Chronicles 1. It ignores enemy armor. Absolute 0. So I'm just going to do a safety save here. Don't really need it, but just in case. So, enemy armor, even tanks, have 0 armor. So you're just doing maximum damage and just doing essentially HP damage to the unit. However, you can still do critical damage as well. So hitting the body will do a certain amount, and hitting the, say, radiator on a tank or headshot on the unit will do, of course, the bonus damage. But you're always doing full damage no matter what. So after capturing the base, Alicia will always lose her Captain Planet powers. Apparently it was too much for her, so she faints. And we call in a medic. She comes running in. State the nature of your medical emergency. Well, Alicia's out on the field. We'll get her out, don't worry, but enemy units have suddenly ambushed us. But we were ready for it because I've speedrun this game multiple times before.
There's a ton of them.
Thanks, Nancy. So we'll run her towards one of the 2 enemy tanks, and the objective changed from capturing the base to taking out these 2 tanks. These 2 tanks are not just heavy tanks, they're like heavy tank platforms that can do mortar strikes and just do a lot more than a regular heavy tank. As far as I know, I think they only show up in this mission. And they have special names as well, but that's a lot of damage. 5 shots into the body, and then 10 shots into the radiator with a scout with penetration and demo boost will take out this tank. They have a ton of health, by the way. But this is like the best mission in the game. that absolutely shows off the power of orders and how they can make any unit feel absolutely broken. Kaboom. One tank down, one more to go. Yay. Now onto the other side, we have our Lancer, Largo. He's in position here so that we can just move him behind this tank, and he's a Lancer. He does a ton of damage to tanks anyways. Just 3 Lancer shots, all the ammo that he has, into the Radiator will take it out. Don't be too close to the Radiator because the Lancer shot fires at the end of the lance, so you can actually clip into the Radiator and just do body damage by accident.
Been waiting here.
And 3. And that's that mission easily done. Oops, hope that didn't mess anything up. I accidentally hit Alt Enter instead of Space Enter to mash. Alright, but mash through that, mash through the rest of this. And we got a little cut in this combat for some more story, but because this is a speed run, we don't watch the story or listen to the story. We just mash through it all. Alright, and what is this one? Ah, yes, this one. So at this point, we are going to be getting on some train tracks and flipping some switches in order to win this match. It's not quite the same as running to the end and winning, but it's pretty close because we still use just a scout, flip the switches, and once we flip all 3 switches, we win. So for this, we just position Alicia. Nancy is just like a very rare backup, and then deploy. Nancy's merely a backup in case the enemy decides to rush towards our base. Rarely happens, but it's always there as backup. And it doesn't take any extra time other than mashing through a couple of text boxes. Alright, so for this, we select the Idolice.
Entering combat.
We will switch to our smoke canister here, which we got at one chapter and decided to ignore using. We get up to about here, we deploy the smoke slightly back behind the second sandbags there, so that it engulfs the front unit so that he doesn't see anyone coming, and hopefully a bit of the back unit there so that he doesn't see Alicia. And we're going to select Alicia and just run through the smoke.
Can't beat the smell of fresh soil. Can't beat the smell of fresh soil.
So we'll run through the smoke, we'll try to stay close to the train track so that this guy doesn't see us. There we go, he doesn't target us. That is an anti-personnel gun, and you don't want to be lit up by that. So we'll run over here, get into the grass. No one sees us in the grass, or no one saw us move into the grass. And we just kind of end that phase, because we do not have enough movement after that first movement to get to the other 2 switches to flip them. Unfortunately, it looks like a Lancer has seen us. Thanks, Lancer. Slowing things down here.
Minor damage sustained.
It's only a time waster. He can't actually do anything to us. But he tried. A for effort. So for this, we want to... I believe it's just defense boost, but just in case. He used caution. In fact, we probably don't even need that in general, but for safety's sake.
Advance with caution. Stay sharp.
Oh wait, more units will fire at us. That's right. So, I'll do both.
This is an order. Brace up and get ready to defend yourself.
So we'll do that. Caution, defense boost, select Alicia. And we'll run on around towards the back, because when we flip the back switch, it also opens up a gate that will allow us to very quickly get to the middle switch. So we want to end right about there, because if you're too far forward back here, you actually hit a cutscene trigger. So we just kind of ignore that. We'll get fired out a bit by those boxes on the top. We're not too worried about that. This guy will actually see us because we run right next to him, and he'll start firing at us. Not too worried. We've hit this switch, and if my movement was good... nope, not good enough. I'm like just short of that, so I'll use one more command point to flip the other switch.
My turn, okay?
Flip that switch. That's the third one, and that is the mission. However, we get a nice little cutscene after Operation Complete that we can't really mash through. It's just Thomas the Tank Engine there, doing what he can for the war effort. So long.
Dying and exploding.
Yep. By doing that, he has opened a way, or the engine has opened the way for us to the next mission here, and this mission is absolutely, positively terrible, casually. So what we're going to do here is deploy absolutely nothing. Nothing at all. We have the 2 tanks on the field already, so we don't need anything else. And earlier, I switched the second tank that we got to Gatling gun, so anti-personnel. So we just deploy with that. Now, casually, this would be you fighting a Valkyria without her Valkyria powers, but she's extremely mobile and agile. She will dodge almost every single time you try to fire directly at her. So the typical way would be to get behind her and shoot her with like a bunch of different units. However, if they can't see you, they won't dodge. So let's deploy some smoke as cover so that she can't see us. And that, and then select our Shamrock, which has the Gatling gun on it. And we'll just drive forward here to a close enough spot without being too far under. I accidentally ran over that guy, it's fine. Sight lines? No sight lines. Aim up. Aim at her head. And she doesn't dodge. She thankfully doesn't have any phases where she'll like evade and go somewhere else, but if you're accurate, you do that on the first try. If you're not accurate, you have to use a couple more command points. And there we go. Pretty straightforward. Casually, it sucks. Speedrun, you just take her out and make her look very easy. Alright, and a couple more cutscenes to skip through. And the next mission is also pretty strongly on rails, so any more donations or anything else is perfect for it. Accidentally selected the asterisk. So, extra mashing, time loss. Matters not. Alright, so there's us at the top, there's a circle down there, and all we need out here is Alicia and deploy. So what's happening with this is the enemy brought in that thing behind us.
We have to divert that monster away from the capital. Squad 7.
Oh no, what I forget what they actually call it. I'm not sure if it's like Leviathan class, Dreadnought class, but it's basically a land whale. It is a just absolute moving fortress that we can't do anything about. So we can only divert it in the hopes of doing something about it elsewhere. So we select Alicia here, and we're going to run her up and destroy 2 Ragnite crates to cause a landslide so that it cannot go through this canyon path. And then we'll go to another path and destroy 2 more crates to deal with it there. So there's one. Doesn't immediately explode, it explodes at the end of your phase. So I can tell you, where the rock slide area is.
My turn, okay?
I think this was, yeah, right about here.
Don't even think of
It's a
dodging.
crate. It's not going to flatten out.
Now!
All right. So that's those two crates. That's going to block off this area and force that giant land whale to turn and go down another path. All right. And then one more thing. We also need to just move the Edelweiss out of the way. One movement. We're going to use smoke at about quarter usage of our AP.
Now!
Fire it right there. We don't have to aim or anything. It's always at about the right distance. And then we just move right on into it. This is mainly because, once again, if there's no sight lines above our head, the enemy can't see us, and we can't see them. So we end our phase there, and the enemy will just do nothing, but the on-rails tank behind us will continue forward. And in case you're wondering, yes, I did leave Alicia in the landslide zone. So we lose Alicia on the field here. I'm sorry, Alicia. And, well, plot armor. So she doesn't die, she just retreats. Your commanders are the only ones that retreat. The other units will actually die on the field. So, same with this guy here, Zaka. He has plot armor, so his tank will get run over, but he'll survive and we'll see Zaka again. Alright, and from here on out, it's very on rails, kind of absolutely boring. We need to move forward twice for every turn here, or every phase hereafter. So, first movement. This is also why we got the upgraded armor. It allows us to move just a little bit faster and a little bit further. And so there's two enemies here. There's a shock trooper on the right, Lancer on the left, and we're gonna get stuck in the middle with them. But they're not going to see us in the smoke. So they saw a big old tank drive into the smoke. Don't know where we're at. They don't care. They do nothing. And there's the tank. Continuing to move forward ever so slowly. So for this mission, it's basically survive and do the objectives within, well, first objective within, like, the second phase, and the second landslide area by, like, the 6th phase. So overall, we have 7 or 8 phases altogether. And we cannot complete this mission any earlier. Increase payload. So we fire our grenades right here to destroy those, because, funny enough, a tank can't actually roll over those, but they can destroy just about anything else that's destructible. You know what, I'm just going to stay about in the center here. So that's the first movement. Next one, select the smoke. Fire it there, and we should have enough AP to get moved right on into it. And there are some major ones here. Most of them are anti-personnel mines in there. In fact, let me let's do a safety save, just in case I run over those, because they will disable the treads. But we just kind of roll around the actual anti-tank mines, drive over all the anti-personnel mines, and then we just get to the end. Alright, we get a bit more of the cutscene. They're telling us that the enemy tank has finally turned, so we did our job, which we already knew we did a while back. Now it's up to moving out of ice a little bit more here.
Hostile sighted.
And by moving it forward, I mean we have to kind of carefully move around the mines on the ground.
Enemy unit sighted
There
at
we go.
10 o'clock.
And we're good.
Stay calm and get it done.
The first movement. Move forward with the second movement into smoke. So off to our right, there's a group of enemies there as well. I think there's at least one, maybe two Lancers. Just one. But once again, so long as they don't see us, we're the only unit on the field, they'll do nothing. Alright, to end our phase in there. It's so very nice of Maximilian, who's in that tank right now. So nice of him to run over his own units out on the field. Alright, this is our last movement phase. Afterwards, we just skip a couple of phases. But we'll select our tank, move it forward, destroy 2 Ragnite crates here to cause a landslide, and we'll be behind the landslide so that no enemy units can actually see us. They could run over to us if they did, but they're not going to see us, so we're going to be back here and just parked. I kind of move a little bit forward beyond that tree. Stop. So because we're beyond the tree, it's fine. Yep.
Entering combat. Now.
Quickly target that.
Gotta love nature.
I caused the other part of the rock slide, and we're good. So now we're just ending phases at this point. So while the action is pretty much slowed for this chapter, the next chapter and the one beyond that really picks up. In fact, next chapter I find to be one of the more fun ones as well. Probably either top 2 for the chapters to be done, or missions to be done, because you absolutely destroy it because of orders. Alright, one more turn. It looks absolutely menacing, but it does nothing. Alright, a little more
Is that
cutscene.
supposed to look like a face?
It kind of does. Someone had said it looks like a specific stone Pokemon's face at one point, and I forget which Pokemon.
Oh,
name
nose
that
pass?
is. Yes, there it is.
Yeah.
I typically call it Pac-Man, because it just eats everything along its path. But Nose Pass is almost exactly what it looks like. Alright, and operation complete. Where'd the music go? Alright, that was kind of weird. I just kind of cut it out there. I guess I was mashing too quickly for it. Guess I get no fanfare music this time. Alright. Mash through a couple more cutscenes, get to the next chapter. I'm gonna do a safety save out of the mission, and then safety save after I buff in the mission. Again, just for safety's sake. Normally you don't save this often. Alright, and in this mission, the way to win is to take out the enemy commander's tank. I saw him before, General Jaeger. So we put all of our commanders out there. Oops. And Sonic the Hedgehog. Keep calling him that because his voice actor is the voice actor for Sonic in a couple of the animated shows. Alright, so we deploy for that.
Our target is Jaeger's tank. Stay sharp, Sevens. Squad 7, move out.
Alright, so we have everyone that we need out there. Largo, Alicia, and of course Rosie. So before we select Alex, we need to do two things. Demo boost and penetration.
This is an order. Destroying the target is your top priority.
Casually, this mission is a bit of a pain, bit of a challenge, can be really fun. Speedrun just obliterates it.
This is an order. Aim for where their protection is weakest.
So like you saw before on one of the previous missions, penetration just obliterates enemy defenses, making them almost pretty much zero. So let's do a safety save after the buff. The only thing that can go wrong here is if I move too far forward with Alex and the General Jaeger's tank turns to shoot at me.
Enemy spotted.
But if I'm positioned just right, which it has to be just right, if I'm too far forward, I get shot. If I'm too far back, I do not do full damage.
Just leave it
So I have to be positioned just right to do damage to General Jaeger's tank.
Enemy sighted.
So in that action, and one more movement. So we have 3 command points to take out the General's tank. And looks like I got it. So it takes 2 full command point usage here to take off the General's ablative armor. And then once that armor is actually gone, we can then damage the tank.
Why you?
Just enough there.
I did it.
Alright. And our last usage. So again, tanks also have body and tread health. That's why we're aiming at the turret, because it's the closest point to us that is guaranteed to hit the body. And that's one phase General Jaeger. Alright, and we have 2 more missions left. Chapter 18. In fact, I think it's after Chapter 18, where it's like final chapter, as it's named. And I selected an asterisk mission again. I really need to skip over those by mashing so hard here. Again, the asterisk is just extra story. You don't need it to progress the main story. Alright. So a lot of plot, a lot of development there. But we're on our last 2 missions. This one is pretty cool. We're able to take it out on the second phase. This requires a very simple setup. We're going to use Alex for the second to last time here. So we need... where's Alex? Right there. Alicia right here. And deploy.
Our target is the Marmota. Sink it at all costs. Squad 7, move out.
So on our first phase, we only do 2 things as a setup. We need to create a ramp, and then we need to hide in smoke. And along the way, this random dark-haired girl comes along and says she wants to join our ranks. We say, fine, go fight the front lines over there. She disappears. I'm sure the story actually is something different, but I'm not going to say.
Here we go.
So first thing, this weak spot right here. Destroy the damaged plating. And And by doing that, it creates a ramp that sometimes needs a little wiggle in order to get fully up it. But then we drive over here a little bit. We've used up our action. We need the second action here
Entering combat.
to drop some vape right on top of Alicia.
Now.
Completely vaping the entire area, and then we just drive ourselves in it. And because of the unit positioning, everyone is inside the smoke, and so we just in case. Safety save. But we just end the phase, and we'll win it on the next phase. This is one of the few times where the enemy actually does move on the very first phase, though. So the enemy will move all of their units at least once, and if they saw any of us, they would fire at us. However, not a single one of the enemy units out there is a scout, so no one is able to get in close enough and take over our base. That guy gets close, but he's not able to capture it. That is one of the two major loss conditions for any mission, is to lose your main command base. So in the meantime, the enemy just kind of shuffles their cards. Shuffle, 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 all over the place. Alright, so we need two things here on Alex. Orders. We need demo boost and penetration.
This is an order. Destroying the target is your top priority.
Order. Penetration.
This is an order. Aim for where their protection is weakest.
Alright, and of course safety save. I haven't actually died here, but there's a small chance with any of these that the enemy can just laser you down. Not these guys though, they just kind of tickle you. So we run on over here, hit this ramp, which kind of have to wiggle up. In the turn before this guy jumps the entire clip into you.
Just leave it to me.
Go up. Go up again, and then I try to set myself up for a double kill, I would say, kind of, in the hopes to get both of them. Oh, almost. So if you aim in the center of that, you can sometimes get both of them. I have also, at one point, hit none of them and had to restart.
I'm on my way
So
now.
I try to aim more closer towards at least one of them.
I don't think so.
So with both of those down, it now removes that overshield from a very giant Valkyria lance. One that's primed and ready to destroy another mountain.
Dahlia's future rests with you now. I have faith in you.
Alright. A couple more scenes to skip through here. And the action, and we have more than enough command points now left over. We only need 3, and we have 4, but we have 3 here to fire up at the lance. Make sure to not aim too far to the left, because there is a giant propeller hitbox there. You can't fire between them, kind of like with the fencing on any of the bridges.
Just leave it to me.
So aim straight up. And because we have penetration, and because we have anti-armor up, level 2, we're able to destroy this rather quickly. With just a simple shock trooper. And there's that mission completed. Alright, and before we get to the final one, we need to do one more headquarters visit. This is where we absolutely need to get one thing, which is... Oh, 2 things. Oops. I'll get the R&D first, but we need to get our sniper up to 16 as well as get our machine guns up to the maximum clip size. So we go down here. T-Mag 20 is the maximum. There's no more beyond that. Exit the R&D. And then we go up to the training field, and we need to get snipers just to 16. Nothing else needs to be leveled up. Again, for the troopers or shock troopers there, they're also at a specific level for this next setup. But snipers at 16 get their final potential, is what it's called. And with the one sniper I wanted to get into our ranks, that one sniper at 16 gets ultimate accuracy, meaning that you don't have to zoom in to be accurate. You're always pinpoint accurate at the dead center of it. So just to be sure, let me save out here, because the setup could go wrong if I'm, well, silly with it. But there's a setup here that is for main and fallback in case something goes wrong. Hopefully I get this all right, because it looks absolutely amazing when it goes right. So position our units. We need just... Let's see, Alicia on the side, Rosie back there. We need Alex over here, Kevin on the back, Kobe on the side as backup, Largo for extra points. And where's our sniper? Marina, right here. We don't fill everything out, but we have everything that we need now in order to deploy. So all the command points and our main people out there that will, almost all of them will need to do something.
This is our final operation. Let's end this war. Squad 7, move out!
All right. Actually, a bit more of the cutscene. So the Lance took a lot of damage and it's falling apart. Everything's in shambles for the enemy commander. And it's the enemy commander we have to take out. So what we need to do here... Oh, Alex, everyone. Yep, we've got everyone that we need. System, save... Create a new one just in case. So we're going to do orders, and we only need to do penetration on Alex here.
This is an order. Aim for where their protection
This
is
allows us
weakest.
to do a specific amount of damage to the enemy boss, as well as to very cleanly take down these two towers in the front. So around the corner, we need to fire at this tower. It has 1,600 health, but with penetration, we just obliterate it.
I did it.
Come over here, slap the back of this tank. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Run on up.
End the war for us, here and now.
Yes, apparently the enemy is also a Valkyria, even though they're male. The story tells more about that. We select Kevin here next.
Roger that.
Slap the back of this tank. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. And it can take so many indirect hits. And, okay. There we go. And with top right shows Alex. Alex is going to join in on that firefight against the tower.
Your orders, sir?
One of the few times where we actually use team fighting to take things down. So now we use Marina. We need to take down all 3 towers. And here's ultimate accuracy. Perfect. We got 1.
The hunt begins.
And 2. Without ultimate accuracy, you'd have to zoom in and you have a chance of missing. That's why we need Marina
Sweet
there.
dreams.
So with all 3 towers down, we are now able to actually damage our boss. So we select our Shamrock here, switch to the T1, not the Gatling, to do a specific amount of damage. Move up close to these 2. Nope, Alex is only there. Alex and Kevin up in the top, we fire at the center. He has no critical hit point.
Let's do it.
That is just about right. At 50%, he would normally phase and go, like teleport and start doing some other random things. But all we need now, orders, or final orders, all units attack. This increases everyone's anti-personnel attack power.
I want you to fire every bullet you've got.
Sir, yes, sir. So we select our tank. We pull out the Gatling gun, and time will be when he reaches 0 health. Gatling gun, goodbye, Maximilian.
Fire. Me too.
That's the time. And that's the game.
Impossible.
I'll just kind of skip through that, though. There's a couple more cutscenes afterwards, but the timer ends once we defeat the guy, because there's nothing else to actually fight. Just cutscenes and a few other things. And since I don't want to show off the ending of the story, just kind of skip through that. But that is the Valkyria Chronicles 1 speedrun done in... what's the time?
2:22:52.
Absolutely horrible, only because of Chapter 7.
Hey, it happens.
Yep, but that can still go quite a bit faster. My PB is 2 hours and 9 minutes, and the speedrun record, I believe, is about 2 hours, but that's on the PlayStation, which is a little bit faster for some things. Funny enough. So I hope everyone enjoyed that.
Yeah, thanks so much for coming.
All right, that's awesome.
I believe Moonblaze Wolf is hanging out in here and had some plans.